The specific eating window used in the study, 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., deserves scrutiny because it conflicts with what we know about optimal meal timing for sleep quality. Eating your last meal at 9 p.m. and then going to bed a couple hours later might undermine the very metabolic benefits you're trying to achieve through time-restricted eating. Sleep and metabolism are intimately connected. Poor sleep worsens insulin resistance, increases hunger hormones, decreases satiety hormones, and promotes weight gain. If your eating schedule is disrupting your sleep, you might be creating more metabolic problems than you're solving through fasting. This is a legitimate concern with later eating windows. The physiological issues with eating close to bedtime are well documented. Digestion is an active process requiring blood flow to the gut, enzyme secretion, and metabolic activity. Your body is in active digestion mode when you should be transitioning to restorative sleep mode. This creates a form of internal conflict that can fragment sleep and reduce sleep quality. Gastroesophageal reflux is more likely when you lie down with a full stomach. The lower esophageal sphincter, which normally prevents stomach acid from moving upward, is partially gravity-dependent. Lying down compromises this barrier, especially if your stomach is full and distended from a recent meal. People with reflux often report worse symptoms when eating late, and chronic reflux can disrupt sleep significantly. Studies using polysomnography to measure sleep objectively have found changes in sleep architecture with late eating. The distribution of sleep stages might shift, with less deep sleep or more frequent arousals. While these changes might be subtle and not consciously perceived, they could affect recovery, immune function, and metabolic health over time. The glucose and insulin elevation from a late meal persists for hours. If you're sleeping through peak post-meal glucose levels, you might be experiencing hyperglycemia during sleep when glucose should be low and stable. Some research suggests that nocturnal glucose elevation increases cardiovascular risk more than daytime elevation. Your body expects nighttime to be a fasting state, and eating late violates this expectation. Growth hormone secretion, crucial for muscle maintenance, fat metabolism, and tissue repair, occurs primarily during deep sleep and is suppressed by elevated insulin and glucose. If you're going to bed with elevated insulin from a recent meal, you might be blunting this beneficial overnight growth hormone pulse. For people interested in body composition and recovery, this could matter over time. However, individual variation is enormous here. Some people can eat dinner at 9 p.m. and sleep perfectly fine. Others find that eating after 6 p.m. disrupts their sleep. This variability likely relates to digestive speed, metabolic rate, circadian chronotype, and individual physiology. Blanket recommendations don't account for this variation. There's also the chronotype issue. Natural night owls, people with delayed circadian phases, might actually have their peak insulin sensitivity and digestive capacity later in the day than morning larks. For a true night owl, forcing them to stop eating by 6 p.m. might be more circadian disruptive than allowing later eating aligned with their natural rhythm. The practical compromise might be moving the eating window slightly earlier, perhaps 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. or noon to 8 p.m. This maintains social dinner feasibility while providing a 2 to 3 hour buffer between last meal and bedtime. For most people, this buffer seems sufficient to avoid major sleep disruption while still allowing some evening eating flexibility. Another consideration is meal size and composition at the end of the eating window. A large, heavy dinner at 9 p.m. is probably more disruptive than a moderate meal. High-fat meals delay gastric emptying more than high-protein or high-carb meals. Maybe the solution isn't eliminating late eating entirely, but being more thoughtful about what and how much you eat later in the evening. The research on optimal meal timing relative to sleep is still developing. We don't have perfect prescriptive guidance. What we can say is that eating immediately before bed is probably suboptimal for most people, but the degree of suboptimality varies individually. Pay attention to your own sleep quality. If you're eating late and sleeping poorly, try adjusting your eating window earlier and see if it helps. Use your individual response to guide your practice.